I set the truck up with 4 window nuts, so we can have like windows down, 4 people in there, and all window netting. So we have a Pro Eagle jack mount with a solo tray. So I just like to zip this thing from here up to, you know, I followed the body line up to here where the tail light is. To keep the whole profile like that, I just opted to have the fuel filler carry on the design and flow through. So the whole truck has a 1/4 inch belly on it. All
Hey, what's up, guys? We're over here at Morgan Shop Studio. My bad. It's been a little bit since we've done an update on the truck. A lot of stuff's been going on with Terra and tons of stuff. So
James had a baby.
Had a baby,
okay.
And she had a baby. Yay, baby!
You guys had
and it was awesome. We're over here gonna check out the truck. Morgan's gonna take us through it.
I set the truck up with 4 window nuts, so we can have like windows down, 4 people in there, and all window netting. Just this is the basic style, latch style, right? Like a harness latch comes out. These are shorties in the front. What I want to do with this, it's good. So we machine these guys out. These are just a little flared deal to capture this thing. So when it comes out, you don't have to have a long run. If you see here, you just see this thing can come out, you know, and then it comes out, right?
On.
So real simple. Obviously, this net is going to have a void. So it's going to be this space. And then right here is going to be like a triangle where you're like, well, what do you do there? So I'm going to build a little frame that is going to go with the door, and it's going to be like a piece of acrylic like a race truck would have, where it's like, it's not an actual net, but it's like a clear screen. I think we'll tint it, but do something there, just a screen, so when you do close the door, it's not just like a blank net. Even if the window is down, you'll still have that piece of acrylic there, or plexi.
Nick Eisenhower has something like that.
Yeah, a lot of the trucks have it. Usually it's followed by like a door bar,
right on.
like another support, but we can pull this thing off no problem. Rear window net, same kind of deal. Longer run, it'll just be a square deal. I have 2 more sections of the floor to finish up down there, and then I'm done. My job is done.
All right.
We're gonna weld it all up. This thing's gonna be sealed. So next time you see this truck, this thing will be 100% sealed cap. We'll probably have all of the welding done in there, all silicone bronze with the sheet metal. So that'll be done. Details on the rear. We have mounted bed sides. We remounted them to our new structure that we had here. So James, if you go right here.
Yep.
This is kind of our new structure. Added all this to configure the 40s. Last time you guys were here, we talked about getting the 40s in here and making a new structure that holds them. So now the bed sides are clearanced. We trimmed all the bed side here, just like the front clip. This has been trimmed significantly. You can see that there's a gesture line of where this would be, you know, it's mocking an OEM fender flare. Dang, its wide angle looks nice like that, huh?
Looks good.
Yeah, but you know, this is a trim that we made just for the 40s. With the rear, we put the bed sides on, got them mounted, and then realized, you know, this is a big holdup, so we did another trim in the rear. I call this a rally cut. I like to trim the bed sides, and you know, sometimes they come like this, where they have like a big portion that's just ugly and it's like built for a bumper or something. So I just like to zip this thing from here up to, you know, I followed the body line up to here where the tail light is. So this thing fully tucks the 40s now. We cut out this little void where it was a vent. You can see there's a strut in there where the bypass goes. So this can be like a cool feature where it'll be ducting for the shocks, and it'll just kind of add like a nice visual touch to it.
I think we talked about this last time, but I love the structure of this thing, man. It's cool.
Yeah, this had a lot of tube. I don't necessarily know if it needed to be there, but this seems like the most feasible situation. There's no fuel cell back here. The tires have a big structure underneath, so this thing's not going to be twisting up and doing weird stuff. And then this is just a removable bedside mount. This has all been reconfigured. We tried to salvage some of the old tube here, and you know, and like the tabs. These are all the factory stuff that the truck came with. And then we hard mounted the tail lights. Any kind of time you mount the tail light to the bedside and that's it, they always have a way to fall off. These are on their own mounts. Also, if you wanted to pull the bedside off and run it in the sand, you could still have tail lights. You can see kind of the older patinaed out rusted stuff. That's all the pre-existing tabs and support. And now we can see the jack mount So we have a Pro Eagle jack mount with a solo tray. This is fully removable via that spring-loaded knob there, so we'll kind of demo that thing. There's not a lot of real estate, so that's why this thing's just tucked in as best it can. We mounted it with the truck bottomed out, so everything will 100% clear, and that skid plate kind of acts as like a, you know, a debris standoff, like a flap where it's not going to get in anywhere. You know, we're pretty close to getting this thing stripped down for powder coat. I want to just make sure all the plumbing is in too, just in case there's like standoffs to hold hose or fittings or anything. We just want to have as much done as we can before it gets powder coated, because there's kind of no turning back after that.
Right.
If you miss something that needs to be tabbed to the chassis, you powder coat the thing. You can always be smart and like have it bolt on or have nut search or something. Got the jack done. The fuel filler is done. All that is ready to go and ready to be finalized. So it's just a little miter kick in there. Like this shock mount, it's very simple and clean, but I didn't want to fill this void with the fuel filler. I just think that that's a real irresponsible, you know, waste of space there. So to keep the whole profile like that, I just opted to have the fuel filler carry on the design and flow through, so that works. Or it
just kind of flows right off of it.
Yep. So that's the fill up. I also opted to have this out here. If you had it here, then, you know, when you overflow, if you do overflow, you're going to have fluids all over your shocks.
Right.
So at least you kind of have a dead zone here. You know, if you do that, you have clear tubes, so that should give you an indicator when you're getting close. But if you do have a mishap and stuff spills, it's just going to go straight down dead zone. It's not going to be on exhaust or anything else. So another thing too, the jack is mounted down there, and then there's also going to be a jack handle mount that goes through here, that goes across with enough clearance to get the window in and out. These are the pieces for it. So this goes on one side, fastens to the chassis there, and then this is your spring-loaded deal that receives that. So you'll have one of these on each side. It sets. I just wanted to weld these off the truck, and then you'll have that sitting in there, right in that little crevice of the shock mount, where there's enough room to clear the pickup for the fuel and to clear getting a window out. Not just, you don't want to build this stuff where it's so close where the guy that's putting the window in and out struggles and is calling you names. So if you look that void right there, that void is right where that fits. Perfect. So that's your jack handle. The big stuff under the car now, I have a light set up. James is going to be the ambassador for the Sens.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you're going to be the guy. Yeah.
Danny is the guy.
Well, Danny definitely is the guy. But now you guys can use the buddy system.
Dude, pre-ran Dan...
All of you guys.
All those guys.
I know.
Mike Rennick, dude.
You got a lot on your head. People are having some high expectations. So,
Blake,
with all that being said, we did a 1/4-inch skid on this whole thing. So, the whole truck has a 1/4-inch belly on it. It's a 1/4-inch thick. Anything that you case on this thing, it's going to hold up. You know, it's also a tube chassis, and, you know, in between this skid plate, you have your actual lower tubes of the chassis, and then, you know, some sheet metal, some thin sheet metal like this, and then your seats are, you know, only 4 or 5 inches from the bottom. So it's nice to just have that reassurance that there's a 1/4-inch skid on this whole thing. So obviously there's that trim piece that's your skid, which I don't think you're going to use that too much. And then I also got like a protective skid where your pivots are. So that's all 1/4. This thing is wrapped here. So the skid comes down. If you ran this front skid plate right to that skid, there's a chance that this can peel off or start hitting, so it actually goes and then it runs over. And then I used a countersink bolt because this place right here might have a lot of wear and tear from bottoming out and hitting stuff. So I didn't want to just shave off like a hex head bolt like this. These little countersunk Allen bolts are useful sometimes. People are probably going to say like, well, why didn't you do the whole skid plate with these countersunk Allens, which it looks really nice and clean. But at the end of the day, if you're out there, these hex head grade 8 bolts are so much easier to service and take care of. If you start scratching, like if you take a hard rock hit to this and it just mushes this bolt head, you are not going to get an Allen key in there, no matter what. You will not get an Allen key in there. It'll pack with dirt right off the bat. It'll pack with mud. And in the field, if you're out in the desert, you know what everybody has? They have a crescent wrench. So if you need to get this thing off, or vice grips, you can just get these off. You don't want to shoot yourself.
The situation calls for it, yeah.
You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot just because it looks clean with something like this. If you need to access under the truck, like if you need to get to the trans, guess what? That middle belly pan is going to come off. The other thing with this is it's 3 pieces. It's not one whole one. So those side panels never need to come out unless you're servicing something that's under there. But you know, we wanted to make the middle one removable. So if you need to get to the trans or the carrier bearing or something with the mufflers, then that's all going to be through the middle one. That part is done.
Badass, dude.
That was kind of a huge thing to accomplish, and it looks amazing. It's going to be crucial for a tube chassis, especially if you're hitting doubles and you're casing stuff or you're coming up short, or if you're just cresting over something or bottoming out in rocky areas.
Oh man, those expectations are high.
Yeah, and you're going to do that.
So awesome to see all the updates and everything that Morgan's been doing, and him and the boys over here. It's great. It's great to see all this come together. Morgan, is there anything else we got to talk about?
I think we should just talk about direction, because once it's powder coated, that's a landmark thing, because instead of living in this back spot, it's going to go out to the front and it's going to get assembled. It's going to get wired, you know, and it's going to be ready to run.
We're getting pretty close, guys. It's January right now. I'm not sure when this episode's going to drop, but I'm honestly thinking within the next few months. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, for those who know me and have known about all this madness, it's pretty insane. It almost seems surreal. But yeah, Morgan, take us through it, man. What's going on next?
James, bro? I mean, we covered it in like the first episode.
Yeah.
James, you deserve this thing.
Oh man, get it.
You know, you really do, and all of us love you, and it's just, this is a labor of love that I need to see out. I need to ride this thing out all the way, because it's just part of something in my life that I need to accomplish with helping you out.
You really touched me. I believed every word you said. I kind of want to hug you.
So we're so close.
Thank you, man. I'm stoked.
Yep. Well, first off, we'll cover what's going to be next. So fine tuning. We're going to mount fuel filters, mount the fuel pumps, do all that stuff, all the plumbing stuff. We're just going to put it in its spot so that we can plumb to it. There needs to be a dead pedal on the driver's side for James's left foot, and there needs to be a stomp box or a stomp situation for the passenger side occupant. So we'll handle those things. The rear, some kind of simple aluminum treatment in here, nothing crazy or bougie or special, just something simple that kind of cleans this up and directs the air. The big one that I'm going to do for James is I'm going to cover this whole back of this thing like an RC car. So it'll go over, it'll go around the tires, it'll break up, it'll have venting for the fans. The profile of it, it's going to be a really big unit. It'll probably be 3 pieces. Come up and it'll come right here, you know, and it'll cover things. So it's just going to be like this one big trim piece. We're not going to do a bunch of side paneling or vertical paneling. If it goes through the mud, then it's, you know, we're going to pull the bedside off, we're going to pull the top panel, we'll just blast the whole thing with a pressure washer.
Yeah.
So that's 1. 2 is going to be this tailgate. We're going to do a skin that's going to represent a tailgate. Obviously this doesn't go straight across, so I'm going to do a radius skin that looks the part, and it's going to be like just a single sheet. It's not going to be, you know, a box piece that swings down, just something that's Zeus buttoned up that encloses this whole thing. So when you see it, you're just going to see like your tire in here and some openings for that. You'll see your fuel cell because it's not going to go all the way, but then you're just going to see a big trim panel like an RC car body.
Right.
And I do have one little thing I'm going to add to this in the front and the rear, but I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. I'm just going to do it, and James is going to deal with it. But like, we'll make it removable.
The go-go gadget.
It's going to have to do with this.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm super stoked. Again, this is all coming together. Thank you guys, man, for just crushing it. I'm super stoked about everything just finally it's aligning, and it's all aligning with purpose. And one thing Morgan always told me is like, that things with this build have just kind of come together at the right timing for everybody. I'm beyond blessed, and I don't deserve this ish, man, but I'm super grateful for all of my friends and everybody kind of pointing me in the right direction. Hopefully this is getting close to the last couple episodes of this thing. We're going to take you guys through powder coat. We're going to take you guys through the wheel and tire package that we're going to run on this thing, and the finishing up details, all the electronic stuff, all the good stuff we're running on it, all the details. So, all right, guys. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a good one. If you guys have any questions for Morgan regarding this or any ideas that you guys want to try out, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Leave questions in the comments. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And stay tuned.
Thank you.
Later, guys. Bye.
Later.